Good
Thank
to
you
have you
very
on the
much.
show.
So I've just joined Bloom a few months ago, and my new role is as a director of IT. So the CIO role for the group, and as you mentioned, we have property and real estate sector. So we do a lot of building of developments and communities, and also we have hospitality. So we have partnerships with Marriott brand, and we have educational vertical as well. So we have partnerships with Brighton College and Dwight School as well, and Wine Chance Nursery, as well as a facilities management arm and landscaping arm. So it's a group, and I run the IT and telecoms for the whole group. So I think firstly, people. I think I've been very fortunate here. I have a great team. I think the company has been very welcoming to me, and for myself as well. It's good. I think if you're any kind of director or CIO or any role after 5 or 6 years, it's good to change. It's good to try something new, and it could be within your same org. It could be like me in another country, in another organization, and I think. For me, I'm always passionate about what I do, and so my first few days have been interesting. I felt like I'd been working for many years, not a few days, so I got thrown straight into it, and now I feel I'm settled into the role, and I understood the environment quite well, and have started to develop ideas for how we can utilize technology to enhance all of our brands and all of our businesses. That's where I'm very fortunate. That's one of the reasons I went for this role itself. The leadership, CEOs, CFOs, and the team, the IT teams, they're very technology friendly and very supportive of technology, and they want to use technology as the kind of USP, or what makes Bloom different from other similar types of companies in the country and in the region. So they've been very supportive, which has allowed me to look and research and develop ideas that I'd like to do in terms of how I can see each of these verticals being benefited by technology itself. Yeah, it's interesting. This is the 100-day mark. I've gone past that, and I feel within the first day I felt like I was hit the ground running. I didn't really have it wasn't a sort of settling into the role. I went straight in. Lots of things to do, lots of challenges, lots of initiatives, lots of. I think there was a lot of initiatives waiting for me when I got there, and a lot of initiatives I planned to do. But the most important thing, as I mentioned, the team, very supportive. My IT team has been very good. It feels like I've been there a lot longer than I have, even though it's 100 days. They've gone very quickly. And before I went there, I sort of have timelines. I always think that, within the first 100 days, I would have established, even before I went there, that was something personally I felt, within 100 days, I would have established myself and started to set the new strategy for IT as to what I'd like to achieve. So it did fall into line within that 3 months. Within that 100 days, I felt like I was settled in, and I could start to plan my own strategy as whether it's a 1 year or 5 year strategy for how I'd like to develop IT and how I'd like IT to work with the business in the coming months and years. We have quite a wide range of technologies. So we have technologies that are relevant for, we have all the base technologies, the SAP S/4HANA, success factors, the ERPs. We have security solutions running in-house. So we have managed security centers operating for us. We have the whole sort of Office 365 suites, and a lot of development going on into computer-aided facilities management, and a lot of research at the moment. We're very close to rolling out IoT and sort of machine learning and artificial intelligence platforms for our smart buildings. And there's lots of ideas in terms of technologies. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the technologies that we have. But what really interests me, I mean, I'm interested in seeing how we can utilize these technologies to enhance our products, our offerings, what we offer to customers, what we as a business utilize to make our environment easier to work with, easier to collaborate, more secure. So it's an ongoing process, constantly in development. I'm even looking at research and tie-ups with sort of technology startups and research firms, and how I can look at bringing some of those products and sort of cutting-edge products or cutting-edge sort of solutions that they're developing, whether it's in blockchain or artificial intelligence or smart contracts or whatever that might be, into our business itself. I think the UAE is a leader in the Middle East in terms of the entrepreneurial ecosystem and startups. I think it's starting to enhance all the pillars required for that. So whether that's regulatory, whether that's talent, whether that's finance or funding, it's putting together all the necessary pillars to make this a success. So for me, I think UAE, even when I've done my research before, has always been a leader in this area. I think the people themselves, they have a passion to be based here, and also develop their technology in the midst of so much potential partners, potential other entrepreneurs, potential CIO leaders who are available to them. And you do feel that. You feel that here there is a positive outlook towards this, which is very good for me. You know, it's one of the most important things for me was to develop, as I've mentioned, the tie-ups and the startup ecosystem myself. So even me, my role, I'd love to do that. I'm speaking to some technology startups here. I am looking to create innovation centers within the company and create links within the startup community here. I think, you know, bringing those products, you know, we can bring them to market in our ecosystem. We can develop them further, and we have a fantastic lifestyle ecosystem. I mean, we provide property for people to live in, you know, high-end property. We provide schools for their kids to go to get educated in, and we provide facilities management and to take care of them. We provide hotels. We have this fantastic potential output of these technologies into a whole ecosystem of actual physical services and businesses out there. So yes, for me, very excited. I am developing it, and that's what keeps my personal passion going as well. I think as a CIO, I think the leaders, like yourself, Venki, you're also passionate. You have your visions and dreams, and as you know, our friends and colleagues in the industry are also passionate. And I've been speaking to some other CIOs who've been doing similar stuff, and connecting with accelerators and incubators and running hackathons. And I think that's probably for me a very nice way of how they're developing IT, and how IT can then benefit businesses that they're in. This is for me, I don't tend to view it as I know what you're saying, look for the one moment, but I don't tend to view it as one moment of success. Sure. It's more of a series of successes. The great thing is I don't tend to lose enthusiasm, whether it could be, you know, a successful project at work, or a successful initiative at work, or whether it could be, you know, as we've been there together winning awards and doing great digital transformations, and for me it's more of a series of successes, and each time I've enjoyed it as much as the last. Yeah, I don't tend to lose enthusiasm in terms of my successes. So I don't have one particular moment, but I think success for me is a build-up of success upon success. So that's for me is a continuation. It's a continuation. So that's how I would see success, and it can start small. You know, it can start very small at work with something that you're doing, and you can just keep building up and building up and building up until you get the big awards, and until you get the publicity. But before that, lots of small successes will lead to the larger successes. I think IT should offer ways of fundamentally enhancing and improving the business through technology, whether that's internally, so to your internal stakeholders, and you're making the environment more secure, easier to collaborate, giving them deeper analytics and insights into the work that they're doing, or whether that's as a business as a whole, whether properties are saving energy, are regulating themselves, these smart buildings, better than they would without the technology, if they're saving money for the tenants, if you're offering ways of enhancing the educational experience or the hospitality experience. Ultimately, that would be how I would see technology, as fundamentally transforming the business for the business itself and the people, and also for customers itself. So this is a very good question. There's a lot of talk, and we can descend into a conversation on IoT and blockchain and AI and machine learning, and then there's what is required for the business. And this is an interesting balancing act to get, because yes, I think the adoption rate will be good and successful if the organization is ready for it, if the people are ready for it. Sometimes if you go too far ahead and the people aren't brought up at the same time, then for me that doesn't necessarily mean that you will end up in a successful state, because you could have technology that could be too advanced or too undecipherable for the people in the organization. So I think you have to balance that. Where are the people? What are they comfortable with? And sometimes it's okay to stay with solutions. You don't need to enhance just for the sake of enhancing. There has to be an end purpose as to why you're using the technology or why the business is using it. It's still an investment. I mean, as you know, we have to manage our finances in these times, and our budgets and our costs, and so let's utilize the opportunities where the business really will benefit, and not just for the sake of saying, yes, I have this enhanced piece of equipment, which might not be what the business needs or wants, and they're quite happy with what they are. So yes, it's talk about ROIs and how you would see a return on what you're doing. So I think yes, assess the people, the processes, the technology, decide what's required for yourself, and it's another thing as well. You can certain enhancements can be tailored for certain people. We as IT, we can quite comfortably within our capabilities look at cutting edge solutions for us. Doesn't mean I will necessarily put that kind of solution on people who don't need it or actively probably wouldn't want it anyway. Leave them with what works for them, makes their life easier. If they're able to carry out their business functions, that's fine. We don't need to necessarily enhance technology for the sake of it. As long as there's an end goal, if people are supportive and they see benefit in it, then it's a joint collaborative decision that we'll make. So I think it's both. Yeah, I mean, I grew up at computer science university and studying, and as you mentioned, a lot of my career in banking, and I had education and retail, and it was always binary and mathematics and computer science and coding, artificial intelligence programming. So yes, I would initially see it as a science, but ultimately, let's look at our roles, Venki, CIOs, IT directors. You need vision. Vision is not a mathematical 1 and 0. It's not fixed in a moment in time. You need to have an artistic element to it. I mean, you look at some of the designs of, I mean, we talk about the way the Apple phone looks, or the iPods. I mean, that revolutionized the industry. But I think either way I see it is, you have to have vision, and then you need to materialize that vision. So you need the artistic element to be able to see what you want, and then yes, you need the scientific rigor to make that happen, and go through the processes and put in place the plans to actually realize those artistic visions. And ultimately, it will be a work of art. Art will at the end, if it's an amazing transformation, you personally will feel like it's a work of art, but built on very scientific, solid background. For me, I think we're in a very lucky period. In all of my years in IT, you've seen the change of how it's seen from something that was very little, it wasn't really understood by many, to something that I was listening to CEOs talk the other day, and how integral it was to the success of their business, what made their business from another business. And it's a great thing to hear CEOs now, leaders of companies, talk in such a positive light, and how they need to work closely with CIOs. And these are leaders, whether it's any C-level, CEO, CFO, these are leaders who understand the importance of working with tech leaders in the company, and how fundamental it is to the success of their organization going forward. We see the disruption taking place of new technology startups disrupting very established businesses. But I think we are in a time where huge amounts of amazing technology is out there, new solutions that maybe we wouldn't have been able to envisage a few years ago, and it's on the cusp, it's on our fingertips to actually take those ideas and those solutions and put them into our real world practices, as we're trying to do ourselves. So I find that you need passion and motivation to keep going in life. You need within your work, within your career. And we as people in this field are quite lucky, because we're constantly being exposed to new technology, new areas that sort of relights that sort of passion and ignites that motivation and fire within us to keep going. For me, even though the landscape is diverse, you mentioned there, property. We have hospitality, we have education, we have facilities management. Even though the landscape is diverse, I like to look at solutions that connect the dots. So, if I can find solutions that can go across them, because ultimately, I take my own example. When I initially came here, I was staying in a Bloom hotel, Marriott hotel. Now I'm living in a Bloom property.
Right.
Now my facilities management for that property have been done by Bloom. Now my son is going to the school, Brighton College of Bloom. So me as a person, I have many touch points in this environment.
Exactly.
So hence, I see technology as solutions that would touch me as a customer in all those different verticals and industries, because there's a lot of interesting ways I'm constantly interacting, whether I'm eating food at the restaurant, in the hotel, or whether my son is now deciding to do extracurricular activities or studying, or whether I want to do anything take advantage of the services of the apartments where I live in. So I take myself as the example of the customer, and what would I like to see? How would I like to improve my lifestyle? What would I like that would benefit me within this whole ecosystem? So in my particular case, even though you're touching different verticals, but you are still the same person, and you still have access to all those facilities. So provide solutions that benefits that consumer across those verticals, I think will be very good for me in my particular environment anyway. So this is challenging because I talk a lot about vision, and I must admit I'm a bit of a dreamer. I like to have visions. I like to yes, I like to have ideas, and for me, I see a clear path to that vision. See, I see a clear list of steps that will get me there, but here's the real world as well. I mean, that can take time. You will encounter failures. You need to deal with day-to-day business. Business still needs to run. No matter how we're looking to develop the future, your environment still needs to be secure. Your operations, whether they're finance or HR or operational, we are master developers or we're involved with operational schools, they still have to run. So you have to ensure and always keep that cognizant that this is still an operating business. You still have to make sure that it's successful. The solutions hence have to be balanced across that. What do my operational businesses need to run better in an enhanced way, and what are the visions for the future? And somebody like me also has moonshots. So there's stuff that's way out there that I'm thinking, well, maybe I can do. But yes, it's dedicating the appropriate amount of time to each, because otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. It's very easy to get overwhelmed, and you'll end up not doing any of the areas well because you'll end up spreading yourself too thin. But yes, absolutely, you should never be risking the business. It should be operating, and also you need to be thinking about the future. So that's how I would be prioritizing as to how I can now help my business take it up to the next level, really. So this is an interesting one. I think to think about this. If I was not in technology, I do have a passion, and it's got nothing to do with technology. It's martial arts and sports, like this. So I would probably end up in that field somewhere, maybe teaching, maybe doing something like that. I think I would be outside of this whole sector, living a different kind of life altogether. So yes, it is quite sometimes opposites, as you see, cutting edge and very ancient, mixed into one. So I think for me, yes, that's probably where I'll end up one day. Once the technology world is behind me, then I probably will end up there one day. My advice is, there are no mysteries, there are no secrets. It's just literally hard work sustained over a long period of time. And I've mentioned, and as I tie in all the threads together now, it will be success built on success, whether that's you're studying, whether that's now you've moved into a technology role, whether that's now you moved into a management role, whether that's now you want to be the next person who makes a unicorn and a billion-dollar startup. You'll just keep building. My advice would be patient. Do not be put off by failure. Do not be, correct course and move on and persevere, and keep building on your successes until you reach the point you want to reach. I don't think that, from what I've seen, any failure is fatal. You can keep correcting and moving forward, but your successes will give you more confidence, and be open to ideas. Technology, it's changing. Open your mind, think of newer possibilities. And I mean, yes, we have solutions given to us all the time, Venki. This is the best ERP, this is the best security solution. But as CIOs, I believe we're at a point now where we have to co-innovate. We have to really think, of new ideas, new technology beyond the realm of what's out there. And the way I do it is I like to partner, whether it's with technology partners or startups, and really think of how we can push the boundaries of technology. So at the moment, I'm doing strategic plans, and some of the things we're looking into are smart building. We're bringing smart into the community that we're building. So we have some potential good projects that we can develop, and we have existing infrastructure and existing buildings and properties that we can use IoT solutions, these machine learnings, these sort of artificial intelligence solutions into our existing infrastructure. And then I'd like to develop sort of like almost a technology startup within the company itself, So, and what I mean by that is collaboration with whether it's research institutions or universities or accelerators or incubators, and start to really or partners, you know, we great partners in the region, technology partners and vendors, and develop products that we can actually utilize within our group and for our customers as well. So that's how I see for me, that's how I see the technology role, my role, as to kind of a strategic, really helping the business enhance its offerings through technology. Unfortunately, I have the right management and the right people who support me in that endeavor, and also the team as well, who are quite passionate to see these sort of solutions develop. For me, I was saying that I looked up the word the other day, and it means something, an ancient Greek word, which means I found it, you know. So and those moments I mentioned, they happen to me. It's more of a continuous process. So I don't have a one big eureka moment. I have more of a series of. It could be, you know, a problem opens itself up to me. It could be, this is how I want to implement a solution. It could be, this is an idea of, you know, a new sort of idea I have for how we're going to utilize technology within the group, and it seems to be a constant firing of these moments within me. But for me, it's a continuous process, because as I develop and as I grow, I see more openings and more opportunities. But also I try and see a real path towards that. So if that eureka moment, and it's a nice feeling. I do feel these moments, and sometimes you can be caught into a huge problem and nothing makes sense, and suddenly everything becomes clear. You know, sometimes you could be stuck in a project, sometimes you could be trying to deploy a solution, sometimes you could be thinking, what is the most appropriate or best solution or path for us to go down? So I feel that, yes, maybe fortunately in that regard, I do find that these moments happen continuous. I don't have these one, I would say, my view, defining moments. You know, I know you always look for it, but you know, if I was to try and think back, it's I guess it's the moment of not ever being afraid to fail. You know, that's probably something similar to that. I felt at some moments that this is it. You know, I don't mind. You know, you don't feel that you're ever afraid to fail. You know, you get rid of that fear, and then things start to really open up. Then you start to utilize your mind in the right way. And I don't mean irrational. I'm not talking irrational. I mean just in a positive way, that, you know, it's okay. You know, it's not final, and you keep moving forward, and then your mind you start to utilize your energy and your mind onto positive ideas that you can have a chance at succeeding at. So yeah, fortunately I'm still here, so it's worked for me to date. So yes, but yes, I would say look at it as for me, I look at it as a series of openings rather than one particular eureka moment. Thank you very much, Venki. Lovely. Pleasure as always. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.